I'm Miodrag Vladic, software engineer and co-founder of Yota Answers. And today I will talk about application or geometry of intelligence in a very large scale question answering system. First, I will make a brief introduction about Yota Answers. Our team is formed of entrepreneurs, current and former professors of schools of computing, as well and students with experience in fields of search, AI, and also in finance and education. We are building question answering system of very large scale as the counterpart to the traditional search engines. Our startup, Yota Answers, is an AI startup from the US and Serbia with our core team of engineers based in Belgrade. So why developing question answering system? Our core mission is to provide users with an alternative choice to search internet by asking questions and getting answers, high quality answers without tracking and without ads. To explain better our motivation for developing a question answering system, I will now talk about the current situation in field of internet search. As you know, for more than a decade now, Google has monopoly in field of search in terms of users, as well in terms of proprietary technology and web pages. Google, along with Bing, is quite dominant in this field. So new search engines that comes to the game usually rather use Google's and Bing feeds than that's building their own index. So there is not many independent players in this field nowadays. Corresponding to monopoly, there is no incentive to bring higher quality to the results. So in recent years, there is a significant decline in quality of search results, especially in Google's. This is mainly caused by decrease of the websites on the internet, and it is reflected by the fact that often you obtain same websites in your results. So basically, for most of the queries, you will usually obtain Wikipedia at least in one of your first 10 results. On top of that, there is enormous amount of ads that really annoys users. And when you skip your first 5 ads that you get on your first page, there will usually be some good SEO optimized the site, which usually that good optimized SEO site is not necessarily corresponding with high quality organic content. If you want to dive deeper into this topic, I would highly recommend this blog, Google Search is Dying. You can check it out on dkb.io. Maybe for some of you is counterintuitive that number of websites and web pages on internet are decreasing, and we all thought that this number will grow exponentially, and it looked like until 2017, but nowadays it declines. And according to Citify, if you take in account only active websites, this number has been stagnating for the last 10 years. Our solution and answer for this decline in quality is focused to provide direct answers rather than links, and in this way overcoming the low quality web pages by only extracting relevant information from them. In this way, we save users time so they can faster consider whether they will click on the page based on the summarized content and answer that they get. Also, our goal is to make a system that respects users' privacy and not to dilute our results with paid biased content. Talking about a question answering system, we classified it as LSAI, or large-scale artificial intelligence. It's especially intended for the factoid types of questions, and so it's excuse me. The idea is to bring the system on the level on which it can basically answer to any type of the factory type question. When I say large, we're talking about here about billions possible of answers, and this is approximately the current scale of Google's direct answer results. The most important thing, we are building our own index, and we doesn't use others' feeds, and the whole system is based on semantic search. Core technology of the yacht answer system is based on geometry of intelligence, or representing words in the form of n-dimensional vectors. So in this way, we can make a semantic representation of the words through vectors and determine its relative semantic similarities based on angular distances between vectors. Also, we can determine mutual relationship between the text words and phrases. For example, in this simplified sketch, for the word vector B is tend to be closer to the word wings, while, for example, for the word rocket, is tend to be closer to the word to the coordinate for engine. The frequency of co-occurrences of the words in general text bring them closer together. So the more frequent some words co-occurs, they considered semantically similar. For example, if you have these two sentences, jet flies in the sky and goose flies in the sky, vectors for the word jet and goose tend to be close to the sky, but also transitively, words jet and goose will be relatively close to the sky because they co-occur with the same words. There is really intuitive mathematical explanation for this phenomenon. So if you have some initial matrix A that represents the bag of words and common co-occurrences of the words, and you apply eigendecomposition on this matrix, you will obtain eigenvectors with its corresponding eigenvalues. The higher eigenvalue is that a corresponding vector will have higher entropy of the projection of the initial matrix. So, in other words, if you choose first n eigenvectors with the highest corresponding eigenvalues, you'll obtain the subspace onto which this initial matrix will have maximal possible entropy. So, this space, in this space, will be minimal possible information loss. To explain you better the capabilities of this approach, let's take an example that we choose 256-dimensional vector space. This vector space will contain 2 to the power of 256 entants, or which are analogy for the quadrants in the n-dimensional space. So if we have, for example, 2 on the power of 256 possible combination of words, each vector representation of these words can have its own entant in this vector space. Applying this method or training them better, these word vectors acquire properties of the words they occur directly or transitively co-occurs with. So there is many interesting analogies between geometry of intelligence and quantum computing. One of them is quantum superposition. So qubit in quantum computing, or analogy for the bit from classical computing, can be in the multiple states in same time, can be 1 and 0. So this is called superposition. As well, in language, some word can have multiple meanings in different contexts. And this, in geometry of intelligence, its words can be represented only by one, can be represented with one single vector, and contain all that meanings in that representation. So this is achieved because that vector will contain common subspaces with the context words that bring the context. For example, if you have word bank, and it can be occurred in financial context, medical context, or basketball context, this word bank, vector word for this word bank will have common spaces with words account, river, blood, or shot. So if we do weighted averaging using lambdas or do summing and normalization of the vectors bank and account, this vector will be moved towards space where words for the where words from financial context are embedded. So in this way, we obtain accurate representation of bigram. So we can do this on n-gram or the whole sentences or texts. The main advantage of this approach that we can enormously increase the scale of the system without necessary huge resources. So we were able to build a system of billions of vectors only using a couple of machines bought on eBay. Also, it's important to mention that Yot answers provide search flexibility by leveraging semantic similarity. So there is no need to phrase question with exact keywords to obtain answers that occurs with that keywords. It's just enough to make semantically similar words with semantically similar phrases to obtain a relevant answer. Also, we can determine correlation between text segments, which is especially important in terms of asymmetric part of search. So when we comparing question with the answers, the vector of the questions tend to be closer in vector space with relevant answers rather than the answers with that are noise or some spam. This is one example directly from the Yot answer system. Who called derivatives weapons of mass destruction? Warren Buffett has famously criticized derivatives as weapons of mass destruction. Another example, what art era Salvador Dali belongs to? Surrealist artist and some famous surrealist artists. This is one example where these words, art era, Salvador Dali, their vector is closer to the surrealist artist vector, so these answers are ranked higher in the results. Besides asking questions and getting direct answers, there is further application of the system. So it can be integrated into search engine for the separate task for getting direct answers. Also, it can be used to implement a special feature in virtual assistants, and also to making question answering bots. Our technology can be customized to implementing semantic search or question answering system for on some special corpuses, as the news portals, websites, or some companies' data that needs efficient search on that large corpuses. I invite you to check out Yot system at yotanswers.com. We don't run ads nor cookies, and we respect our user privacy, don't collect users' data. Last but not least, there is no personalization in results. So wherever you come from or whoever you are, you will obtain same answers for same questions. We provide API for non-commercial use for the individual researchers and for application in academia. So if you're interested, you can check it out. And we offer licensing agreements for commercial use with higher response time, with faster response time, and also for the clients with higher appetites, we have the order of magnitude larger system than this one. So it's tens of billions of possible answers. Thank you for your attention. If you have any questions now.
Okay, so let's see first if there are any questions from the audience. I can begin. So it is all in English now.
Yes.
Are you thinking about changing it? How it would be complicated to change to other languages? I mean, I'm not asking. I'm just asking. I mean, first I'm asking for the system. I mean, is it going to be a different system for the other language?
It will be basically the same system. It's not that hard. It's just take a lot of straightforward work. And as a startup, we need to focus on the primarily tasks rather than. So basically, if we had the higher human resources, I would say, easily scale that on
different languages. And what is about the base you're working on? I mean, can I get the answer on anything that I ask, or it is dependent on the database that you're using?
This system contains a large portion of the web, so it's directly based on the data that we're using, but that's basically pretty large amount of text on general internet.
So basically, it is searching through the other databases to give me the best answer.
We actually built our own index of billions of answers. So we use actually, when you ask a question, it's searched through that index.
Okay. Any questions from the audience? Okay, sorry, Johan.
What do you think about Bing and Bing search and the whole Bing ecosystem?
Well, it's I'll think the.
No, sorry, not Bing. So Brave
search. Well, that's interesting that they have a goal to make private search, or to provide users a system that respects their privacy. But the con is that when you try some query on on Brave, you will obtain basically the same links, the same websites that will obtain on Google, maybe just re-ranked. So they don't have proprietary technology. I think that it's not scalable to make some significant difference in this field.
Microphone. Microphone.
Their concept to include what they call the basic attention token as the way to monetize search versus selling you to the advertisers. Would that be something applicable also to a platform like yours?
Yes. Actually, we have some thoughts about that, but we didn't develop it to maybe give users tokens if they give us a feedback about our answers. Also, I don't want to go to discussion because that was basically just an idea, but we also thought about distributed system where users will search for their answers peer-to-peer rather than on centralized system. But that's the just idea and maybe long-term plan.
More questions? I can't see anyone. Oh, yeah, there's the question. Can we get the microphone there? Oh, sorry. Here's the microphone. I can't see.
There is a microphone, but we can see.
I have a problem seeing through this light. Okay. Microphone. Here's another one coming.
One. It works.
Thank you. Interesting talk. And I'm wondering, a lot of academics spend so much time on trying to find a question. So is that something we can adapt to your API to design questions for particular modules, and so on in teaching?
You can integrate it, you can check out API, so you can integrate it as a separate module on some software.
What I meant is, can we design our own questions for that particular, say, data science, analytics? And I wanted
Sorry, can you decide?
Can you design?
Can we design our own questions into the system and plug in into the university VLE, virtual learning environment, so that we don't need to design questions, multiple choice questions, different essay type of questions on a particular topic? Can we customize?
Yes, you can provide some specific corpus of text, and our pipeline can be applied on that to make search specific for that topic or for that.
Which will be quite useful. Thank you. Yeah.
Can we get the microphone?
I had a similar question. Basically, if you go and try to customize things for, let's say, purely scientific search, right? So you are a physics guy or you are a biotech guy and you have some fairly specific links and semantics that goes with it. Is it scalable in that sense, or the algorithm that you use with the mixed states is broad enough and flexible enough to incorporate any kind of specifics in your search engine?
It's absolutely scalable. Actually, right now we actually concluded that the system works the best on the scientific questions, because that words with specific words, you will filter a lot of noise that frequently occurs on the internet. So there will be a smaller number of lower number of information for that topic, and it's easily to rank it. So current system is intended for general usage, so it will be absolutely scalable to just use some subset of the topics to apply this system.
Okay, so it's just the concept is broad and general. That the
yes, it's general.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, where's
Actually, a comment also. So there was a very important question that you asked about the different languages, and this is obviously for some people, this would be an important impediment for adoption if this is not possible to do easily. Now, as far as I understand, to be able to develop a system in a different language, you need sufficient amount of raw materials, which is to say sufficient richness of the websites, web pages, and so on. Is that correct?
Yes. For example, in Spanish or maybe in Chinese would be easier because there is a lot more data, a lot more text on that languages than maybe on some languages. There is no a lot of speakers in the world, that much speakers in the world.
Any more? I will have one question. You said there are no ads. Sorry, do we have? Okay, please, here, the microphone. Till we get the microphone, can you answer my question? You have no ads. I think you mentioned also that you're taking care of privacy. So how are you going to fund? How are you financing this search project?
Currently, we are self-funded. And
and on the long term?
The long term, to be profitable, to monetize the business, the plan is to sell licensing agreements for commercial use. So as I mentioned, for implementation into virtual assistant for factory types of questions, especially also for search engines to get the answer for the users directly, because for example now if you look all the search engines, basically only Google and Bing, but a lot in a smaller amount provide direct answers to the results.
Okay.
Direct answers to the question. Pardon.
What is SEO optimization?
Sorry?
What is SEO optimization?
That is basically optimizing your site to quote-unquote trick, or actually to make easier Google to rank your site.
Thank you.
Okay. If there are no other questions, and I can't see anybody's hand raised. Well, I think that'll be it, Miodrag. Thank you for this presentation.
Thank you for having me.
Please.